the problem, how overthinking takes over. Hey, welcome. So, have you ever found yourself completely stuck in a loop of worry? Replaying conversations in your head over and over, or just stressing out about the future? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to dig into some seriously practical, ancient wisdom to help tackle this very modern problem of overthinking. Why do we spiral? Alright, let's just jump right in with a question. I want you to really think about this for a second. You get a short email from your boss, your plans get cancelled, you're stuck in traffic. Why is it that for some of us, that's enough to send us into a total spiral, while other people just seem to roll with it? The two arrows, ancient wisdom meets modern reality. The answer, it turns out, isn't about the event itself. It's about what happens in our minds right after. This brings us to this amazing metaphor, the idea of the two arrows. The first arrow, well, that's just life. It's the event itself, the initial sting of pain. A lot of the time, you just can't avoid it. But the second arrow, that's the one we shoot at ourselves. It's our reaction. It's the story we spin about the first arrow. All the worry, the blame, the what-ifs. And here's the absolute game changer. The second arrow is completely optional. How overthinking gets triggered. So how does that second arrow even get fired? How does one little thought suddenly turn into this runaway train of anxiety? Well, to stop it, first we've got to understand how it works. It often kicks off with something the ancient texts call inappropriate attention. This doesn't just mean you're focused on the wrong thing. It's about getting totally hooked on questions that literally have no answer. We get lost wondering about a past we can't change or a future that hasn't even happened yet. And what's the result of all that questioning? Is it clarity? Nope, not at all. We end up wandering into what's perfectly described as a thicket of views. Feeling mentally tangled up, lost in a wilderness of our own making. The snowball effect, from contact to anxiety. Let's trace how this whole thing builds, step by step. It starts with simple contact. You see that email from your boss. A feeling pops up, that knot of anxiety in your stomach. We immediately slap a label on it. This is bad. That perception sparks a thought which explodes into a full-blown disaster movie in our heads. We go from an unread email to getting fired and losing our house in what, 30 seconds? That is the second arrow in action. What science says about this spiral? Modern psychology calls this process rumination, a loop of thoughts stuck on repeat. Neuroscience points to the default mode network, or DMN, responsible for these automatic spirals of worry. When this network is hyperactive, your mind's default setting is anxiety, not presence. One little thought triggers another, until it snowballs into a dense, tangled thicket of anxiety. Ancient texts call this mental proliferation pacha. Modern therapy calls it the cognitive thought spiral. The language is different, but the experience is universal. The solution: a toolkit for clarity and calm. So now we're going to get into the good stuff. Think of it like a mental first aid kit filled with actual techniques to stop that spiral before it takes over. Strategy 1. Replace the thought. Strategy 2. Examine the danger of the thought. Strategy 3. Ignore the thought. Strategy 4. Trace its origin like a detective. Strategy 5. Restrain the mind. Decide to let it go. Additional tools. Guard the senses. Don't let every sight or sound hook you. Focus on your breath, a powerful anchor to bring your runaway mind back. Science meets practice. Just 10 minutes of breath meditation can lower stress hormones and quiet the overactive DMN. Techniques like restraining the senses or removing thoughts fit into a system for training the mind. The goal is building a solid mental foundation so you're less likely to fall into the second arrow trap. The deeper shift, changing how we see things. Overthinking thrives when we mentally live in the past or future, places we have no control over. The real antidote is right here in the present moment. The parable of the poisoned arrow illustrates this perfectly. Focusing on irrelevant details leads nowhere. The only help is pulling out the arrow. A new way of seeing. Cultivating right view means seeing reality as it is, without stories layered on top. With that perspective, the thought spiral slows down, or might not even start. Bringing it all together, your power to choose. The first arrows will come, that's guaranteed. But now you have a choice. You have tools, insights, and science-backed methods to step out of the mental loop. Over time, firing the second arrow builds self-limiting beliefs, but you can choose differently. Closing, your power to choose. So here's the question to leave with: what second arrow will you choose not to fire? The power is yours. You don't have to let overthinking control your day.